Hey everybody, Happy New Year! It is 2021, so we thought it would be cool to start out the new year by looking back at all of our favorite comics from
hmm
2020. A lot of things went down in 2020.
Yeah, it feels weird because it feels like, oh, did that come out last year? No, like the beginning of the year and the end of the year are feel very different.
Yeah, there was a bit of a early middle-ish part of the year that just kind of got lost.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of stopped. Things got pushed back. Major events got sidelined.
hmm
Like we were talking on our last show about how Marvel's Dark Age
Yep.
just sort of vanished. But still, despite all that, comics got back on track, and we've kind of chosen our top 10 comics and
hmm
series that we think were really influential in 2020.
Yeah. No
So,
particular order.
right. This is no order. And if we don't say your favorite one, don't worry. There's too many to go over.
Yeah.
You know,
But leave in the comments, tell us what your favorite thing of which comic of 2020 was your favorite.
so I will start, and the first one I'm going to go over is Venom and all of the lead up stuff to King in Black. So
hmm
King in Black is not over. I can't say that was the best thing of 2020
Yeah.
because we're only two issues in.
We want to see how they stick the landing.
Right, right. But I think it's been really awesome how you could tell that Cates has been planning for this since Venom started up,
hmm
in 2018.
Yeah.
Um, and this year he's really leaned into it. The Null stuff, he's really turned up the heat on that. We're 30 some issues in, and it's all been awesome. It is, I'd say, the best part to it, aside from what I particularly like, would be how excited it's made everyone.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
rarely seen so many people so excited for a Marvel event. Sometimes people get sort of event fatigue or they don't understand what the event's going to be. Like Empire, a lot of people were like, what is this event going to be?
Yeah.
King in Black, everybody's just buckled in.
I was about to say, when you get to King in Black, if you've been reading Venom, you know what you're in for.
Yeah, yeah. And even the people that haven't been reading Venom, everyone's heard of Null.
hmm
He looks like an interesting villain. He seems like a real danger, a real threat. So that had to be my first pick. Not necessarily top pick, but my first pick for most influential, important comic of 2020 is Venom and all the King in Black lead up
Did
stuff.
that kick off our reprint madness? Was that the kind of the instigator for the?
It was. See, I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
that up. Yeah. I mean, how many reprints of Venom stuff have we had? Of course, that started back with the Null stuff. It didn't
hmm
happen right when
Yeah.
it happened, but I mean, those Null reprints, first Null, Venom 4 reprints, those went to like 6, 7
Yeah.
printings.
Yeah.
And then it blended to Thor. More on that later.
Yeah. But we got stuff like all the new characters. What Virus? The Venom character.
Yes.
All that was this year, and it feels or last year. It feels crazy that like it kept that excitement up. Where it's like there's a new character, and then it barely settles, then we're ramping back up to some other big, crazy storyline.
This is also the year that Eddie Brock's son got powers, as
Mm.
far as we got to see he has powers. And I have big predictions that he is going to be much bigger going forward.
Yes.
I have stowed away a couple of his first appearances for that very reason. I think, I expect when you're a writer and you're writing this stuff, Donnie Cates likes to draw from the past.
Yeah.
That's what hooks all the old school readers.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, he's drawing from old Thors and old Guardians of the
Mm-hmm.
Galaxies. But I think when you're as creative as he is, you also want to put your own spin on things. And I think Eddie Brock's son is the character. He was like, nothing's been done here.
Yeah.
Let's put my money on this character.
Yeah.
We've already seen that he has some ability to affect the symbiotes,
Mm-hmm.
to sort of control them, destroy them. But it hasn't been established how far his power goes.
Yeah.
And I think we're about to have to see that based on what's going on in King in Black.
He's going to play a big part in the end of King in Black for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. We got nine more of these to do. Whoops, hit the wrong thing there. And the next one
Is Batman and Batman related stuff. So this is the year where we got Batman 100, we've got 3 Jokers, we got James Tynion, all his crazy new characters with Punchline, Clown Hunter,
Ghostmaker.
Ghostmaker. was designer, and
That was this year
that
also.
is crazy.
The whole Joker war was this year.
Yeah. So people had feelings about Tom King's Batman, and then James Tynion came on, and I feel like this is some of the most reminiscent of like Batman the Animated Series, just bombastic, colorful characters, but new ideas, very refreshing. It doesn't feel like anything is recycled in this.
Fast paced too.
Very fast paced, a lot like Venom. The way it's kind of like everything that's coming is something exciting. The next story arc is something big, and then the next one's something big. We're getting new characters. Batman has different suits, and he's got different Batmobiles, and crazy.
The characters aren't throwaway either.
Right. I think that's big. We've had so many series that's like there's a big villain, they get beat in the end, and then we never hear from them. These are characters that have made their mark, and we're going to be seeing Punchline for a long, long time. But we also got 3 Jokers this year, which, I mean, has been a thing since, 2018?
No, it would be before that.
That was before then, yeah.
That would have been before
it
then.
It was Justice League number 80.
Justice League number 50.
Number 50,
is where Batman gets his answer from the Morbius chair.
Yeah, and everyone since then has been like, what's up with 3 Jokers? And so we got the 3 books, which were really good reads. I think some people were expecting a bigger outcome, but we know that Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok are already working on something else. A follow-up, because if you read it, the ending definitely leaves some places where we could get
Joker family stuff.
Joker family. Yeah, that could really, really shake up Batman's world. And we learned a lot about what Batman knows about Joker, what Joker knows about Batman. Really fleshed out those characters a lot.
Yeah, like it or not, 3 Jokers brought a lot of people back into comics.
Mm-hmm.
There were customers that I hadn't seen in ages who came in the store excited about that storyline.
Yeah.
And I have to, that's great when you come up with an idea so good. The expectation that, we're going to learn all the truth about the Joker, I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, no.
So I was just in for whatever ride it was.
Right.
And it was funny. It had so much more to do with the Bat family and all the trauma they've been through.
Yeah, it was a really interesting perspective on Red Hood and Batgirl.
Yeah, so.
Wanted to just mention, I mean, how could you not, the complete takeover of Punchline for everybody. I mean, this character is so interesting how quickly caught fire. Like, we got her, we knew about her. Like, we kind of knew she was coming, didn't we? Like, she had a cameo, but by the time we got the cameo, we knew she was going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
One, just because Harley had kind of taken on the role of anti-hero.
Yeah, Harley was not Joker's babe anymore.
So we kind of knew that this character was coming in to not exactly fill her seat, but kind of create her own next to Joker. And it's crazy to think at the beginning of the year we didn't know about this character. By the end of the year, it's like, is she going to get an ongoing series already? Because everybody wants it. I mean, it's rare that characters get introduced and get welcomed so quickly into such a established world.
Having read her one-shot and everything, I have to say my favorite thing about Punchline is that she is a very updated character in general. Mm-hmm. She has a lot to do with social media, with getting her fans on her side. Mm-hmm. And, that's kind of the world we live in now. We live in a world of social media celebrities. Mm-hmm. She just happens to be a villain. And I remember she says, the Joker, he's always trying to take over Gotham. He thinks too small. I'm going to take over the world. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty cool. That's different for Batman. Usually it's kept sort of small, but the world is now global. Everything's globalized a lot more than it used to be.
Yeah, so I think that's Tynion, what he's really done really well is update characters, but without losing what made them unique. Like Joker, I mean, just the whole, like, taking Batman's money. How do you really cripple him? Yeah. Well, it's not with these pranks and stuff. It's you hit him where it hurts. And then introducing these new characters like Clown Hunter that really plays off of Gotham has been just beaten down by Joker and clowns like Harley and everything. There's finally someone's like, anytime I see a clown, I'm just gonna hit him because I mean, how could his
I feel that
family?
way in real life.
His family has been so messed up by him that they're really. This feels like really the next generation of people who live in Gotham and have been raised with Batman being there.
And speaking of no throwaway characters, I have to say, if anybody else was writing Batman, Clown Hunter, I would be like, okay. When I first read about him, it's like, all right, you're going to be around for a few issues, maybe a story arc, and then you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Batman's going to stop you. He's going to tell you not to do it. You're basically an adolescent.
Yeah.
No. He just got his origin story in the latest Batman origin or annual. Yeah, Clown Hunter is not going away, and I really respect that. James Tynion is going, I'm doing Batman, I'm building my own thing, it's going to be new, and he wasn't even supposed to write it past issue 100, and they just were like, keep going.
Yeah, please keep going. You are killing it on this.
Yeah.
Do you think Clown Hunter's going to get a costume, like an official suit? How long can you run around with a mohawk skateboard helmet?
I don't know. I like it. I hope for a while. It sets him apart.
Yeah.
I think the day he gets a suit and sort of tech is the day where he'll be officially a hero in Gotham, and I think he'd have to grow up more. I just think he's too young. So getting back to more Donnie Cates, I have to say, this might be the year of Donnie Cates.
Yeah.
Very debatably, I'm kind of leaning that way. It could also be the year of James Tynion because we have another Tynion thing on the list we'll be getting to later. But Thor was huge. So Thor #1 actually came out on New Year's Day. We had a New Year's party here at our comic shop, and we sold Thor and the new Star Wars, which we'll be getting to. Those came out on New Year's Day. We sold them. We signed up a lot of people to them. Everyone liked Thor, but it was funny. About 3 issues in, a lot of people started falling off. Then suddenly issue 5 arrives, and Black Winter is here. This new villain who acts like he can give Galactus noogies if he feels like it. And it just sort of ignited the series. It just made the series on fire. That arc was just huge. Since then, it seems like Thor's petered out just a little bit. I'm enjoying all the Donald Blake stuff. If you guys have been reading that, it's really good. But I will say, Donnie Cates has said that Black Winter is not done. A lot of people, I think, felt like Thor's victory over him, which I think was cool, throwing the body of Galactus at him like a bomb and exploding it. I thought it was cool, but he's not done. That's the main thing to it. But this series was huge. Everyone was looking for it. It had tons of reprints, just like Venom did. It's been a fun, wild ride. And here is the cover to #6. So we're doing spoilers this show because this was last year. Sorry if you didn't get to read it. We're hoping that us telling you things will make you want to go back and read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in Thor #6, this is where he defeats Black Winter. Black Winter asks him, "Do you want to see your death?" And Thor says, "Sure."
Okay,
yeah, what any of us would do. Sure. Well, what he sees is Thanos holding a new gauntlet. Or he has a black gauntlet on, but he's holding a hammer. It's a wraparound, so it's on the back, and it's Thor's hammer with the Infinity Stones in it. And there's a bunch of dead or undead heroes all around him. Yeah. Very scary sight.
See, if that doesn't get you excited for what's coming in Thor, like, it may have some story arcs that are, like the random, like, car mechanic gets a hammer. Like, that was a fun story, but it essentially didn't further, like, this grandiose idea. But, I mean, Donnie Cates kind of showed you this image, like, this is where we're going. So,
you gotta have breaths in between your big moments. You gotta let your characters collect themselves a little bit. The thing is we don't know how far out this is. This could be, forever. This could be Donnie Cates dangling something out that he hopes another writer picks up on someday. But you don't really have Thanos there with an infinity hammer.
Yeah.
And never get back to this. This is another one I have several copies of just squirreled away.
Yeah, I think I think we'll learn more about what this image kind of represents this year. I think we're going to maybe see Thanos pop up in Thor, or something about the, I feel like Donnie Cates's Thor story is a lot about the hammer and what the
Yeah,
hammer means to
that's true.
Thor, what their relationship is, and to see like, okay, Thanos has the hammer and it's got the Infinity Stones in it. That feels like the story arc of the hammer in Donnie Cates's, because now Thor's having a hard time lifting it. Other people can lift it.
Right.
Well, here's
Even Loki lifted the
even
dang
Loki
thing.
lifts it, and so here we see Thanos lifting it. I feel like this is all kind of, that the story about the mechanic again. It was small, but it's another guy who picked up a hammer.
Yeah.
And this is showing other people are starting to do this. What happens when Thanos picks up the hammer? So I think that's really, really exciting.
Okay, so getting to our fourth pick, back to James Tynion. I didn't mean to put it in this order. We have other people we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so next is Something is Killing the Children. And this also kind of represents a lot of really big independent series. We even talked about it a lot, I guess, 2019, where you're like, Indie's kind of suffering.
It was 2019.
It had a lot of series that were good, but they were just continuations.
They were too far in.
They were too far in, really, for a lot of new readers to pick up.
Or Saga and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then suddenly, I think Boom Comics really just picked up the ball and ran with it, because we've got stuff like Something's Killing the Children was going before that,
right?
But it was
heated up.
It
further.
heated up,
yeah.
And it was kind of the instigator for getting books like We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Mm-hmm.
We got books like Wind, which was incredible, and we're getting another volume of that
Once
coming
in
this
Future.
year. Once in Future,
yep.
Huge. We've got Red Mother from Boom. We have Seven Secrets.
Yep.
And these are all from one company. Really,
somebody's out there fielding some talent.
Yeah, and these are some names that we are going to see. Of course, James Tynion, established name. Al Ewing, established name. But this is only just continuing us seeing how good of writers they are. This makes me excited for whatever Al Ewing does next from any company. It's man, I love We Only Find Them When They're Dead. What else has he got coming up?
This is another one by Tynion now. Lightning Striking Twice, where this was supposed to be a limited series, but it was so popular they said keep going. So he did that with Batman, and now he did that with Something's Killing the Children. I mean, that is hot. That he could be able to do that. It's crazy. He's totally heated up.
Yeah, and I think he started this right after his run on Detective Comics, maybe.
Yeah, which was not as applauded.
It was fun but kind of all the big stuff was going on in Batman.
Yeah.
And then this came out and people were like, whoa, this guy is a writer. Crazy.
I think in general in comics I've noticed that people expect Batman is always going to be better than Detective Comics. And I think when Tom King was petering out there, just kind of pouring cold water on the Bat family, everyone just expected, well, the main Bat title is this, then Detective. How could it be better?
Yeah, it always kind of plays second fiddle to Batman. But no, if you haven't read it, everyone should go read his Detective Comics run, because when you put Clayface on a team with the other Bat family, it's a lot of fun.
I want to mention a couple other books that have started in 2020, but they're not far enough along to say they're 2020 books. So Crossover's one of the new ones.
Yep.
What are some other ones that just started?
We just started. We'll talk about Kirkman later, but Walking Dead Deluxe.
Yeah.
I think we're only at issue 4 or 5 of that, but
there's definitely a renaissance in indie going on right now in general.
Mm-hmm.
There's more hot indie titles than I've seen in ages. Aftershock books are doing really well again. And that pleases me. I love the Marvel and the DC universe, but I need things outside of that too.
Yeah, it's a different flavor that kind of makes it easier to not get burnt out on just superhero stories.
Oh, I know the other one that has to be mentioned, also by James Tynion, Department of Truth.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We're only a few issues in, but what a book so far.
Yeah, it hit hard, issue 1, and it was whoa, this is going to be big.
Just 4 issues in, but I think when we do our wrap-up show of next year, we'll probably be talking about that book
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Can you believe there's already 7 movies in development with through Department of Truth?
Okay, so our next one.
Is Star Wars.
Yep. What a
Very
year.
what a year for Star Wars. This is Star Wars #1 was the other book to launch at midnight on January 1st or whatever.
2020, yep.
Uh, and we were all excited about it but we loved the previous Vader series so much.
I know that
like
Charles
that
Soule
is
one was
some
so good.
of the best. I mean, not just Star Wars comics. I feel like that's like, oh, a subcategory. It's good for a Star Wars comic. No, like it was one of our favorite things to read when it came out.
Look up to Charles Soule, Darth Vader. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And we were kind of wondering how are they going to follow that up. I mean,
Greg Pak had he had a long shadow he had to fill.
And we got Charles Soule on the main Star Wars title. Then they started announcing books like Bounty Hunters, which is kind of a thing we've always wanted from Star Wars, is a Bounty Hunters book. But, this really, people coming in reading all these are like, this is my Star Wars story. Like, these are some of the highest quality, best written Star Wars material, in years.
When you have a big name like that, the fear is always that a big company's just going to go, give them what they want. Hey, throw in a lightsaber, have them do some Force stuff,
Yeah,
you're
give
afraid,
Spider-Man a lightsaber.
You're afraid they're going to shovel out some schlock, but the people they put on it have done it with reverence.
Mm-hmm.
They've done it. You can tell they're really putting a lot in it.
Yeah.
And everyone's been pretty pleased with it, us included.
Yeah, it's definitely, even with like The Mandalorian and everything, Star Wars is still on the rise, and we've seen more people clamoring for back issues of Star Wars than ever before.
Yeah, if you are not living under a rock, the back issues for Star Wars, even the Dark Horse ones, have gone through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly due to the well-earned popularity of The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a cool cover.
Yeah, and I want to put this in here just to mention, like, they're not recycling stories. They're not, just doing kind of what the original Marvel series did, was like, well, let's just like have them go on these goofy adventures. Like, no, like they are introducing new characters. Like, I mean, of course, way back when they introduced Afra, that was a big thing. But we've got the new assassin hunting Vader. We've got,
and we just looked him up and we learned something.
Yeah, that he's actually shown in Rise of Skywalker, and it's his ship that they find Dio the droid on, and everything. So.
And you said he's the one who kills Rey's family?
Yeah, he was the one who killed Rey's parents. That kind of instigated all of that, and it's like, oh wow, this is kind of a big deal. Just like recently in Vader, we got the
eye spider thing.
Yeah, the whatever of Wishy Bog, or I can't remember his name, but like that was supposed to be a big character in the movies. Like they are pulling out all the stops, using like crazy characters and making all the stories matter in the ongoing. And then, not to mention, we have High Republic coming up. So Star Wars is still just on the up, getting more and more popular.
All right, so for our 7th pick, we're not just doing comic series. We wanted to add in Kirkman surprises. Robert Kirkman of Image Comics. He had a lot of cool surprises this year. He launched Negan Lives, a cool one-shot.
Mm-hmm.
Walking Dead. I mean, he wrapped that up last year just suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was just taken by surprise when he ended it. And then, so it was like Christmas. Him going, hey, here's some more Walking Dead. Here's a character you want to hear about. For us retailers, he sent all of us a 1 per store gold variant.
Mm-hmm.
Just to help us make a little bit more money,
Mm-hmm.
Which is always appreciated.
Yeah, I don't think people, I mean, it's not widely publicized outside of working at a comic book store. All the stuff that Robert Kirkman does for comic book stores.
Yeah.
He, creates drive for people to come in and get stuff. He makes excitement for things. sometimes we don't even know what they are, but he feels like he always has the like brick and mortar store in mind.
He tries to engage with us. Like, so for Firepower, he sent all us stores for free the first trade paperback. And of course, that's how the series started. It started as a trade.
Yep.
Instead of, he realized a lot of people don't want to read one issue and wait for the second. So here's the first trade. Well, he sent us the trade at least a month ahead of
If
time.
not more. I mean, I read that thing
Yeah,
long
with a
before.
note saying his plan. He's like, "Hi, retailer. Here is what I'm doing. I'm giving you this, months ahead of time, so you can read it and see that this is quality. So you can know my team is ahead of schedule. That you won't have these months between issues, so you can build up excitement." That's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
there's no one else at any other company who's really doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really like, if you want us to sell the book, he let us read it, and
Yeah.
like I read it and I loved it. I'm like, I'm excited to tell people about this. And on top of that, it was the free comic book summer book that he released,
Right. Yep.
where you could get volume 0 and issue 1 the same day.
Yeah, the same day.
And I just feel like that is such a cool thing. It's so exciting for people to, have a whole, essentially 8 issues to jump in on.
And then, of course, lately we have this whole Solid Blood thing, which
Yeah.
I think most people watching the show probably know a bit
Yeah,
about.
this is definitely 2020, 2021 crosses over, and we still don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is the right Bizarro year to do something this strange. A comic from another dimension that he claims he never did get around to write, and Ryan Otley never got around to draw, yet there it was at the printer. Even though Otley's under contract with Marvel.
Yeah.
How could this be? And if you have the chance to get one someday, the letter section is great. I mean, you're literally reading a letter section from an alternate universe that talks even about historical things about their universe that are different than ours. It is a fun idea.
Just ads from another dimension for books that don't exist, for a website that doesn't exist. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing
a reprint that we can
order a lot of them, because I want a few myself. And maybe we'll learn what this is.
Yeah, why he did this, and what is going to become of it next year. Hopefully.
It would be the meanest joke if it was actually just nothing, and he just was like, just stringing people along to be like, what is this gonna be? And it's like, I don't know, it just seems like a fun issue.
Yeah, I may think differently about it in that case.
Yeah.
I seriously doubt. That doesn't seem like him at all. And I have to say, I've seen, I read comic news and other sites. I've seen a lot of top 10 lists. I haven't seen any site talk about the stuff Robert Kirkman's done this year. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not the biggest selling stuff, but it's exciting and interesting. So
yeah, it always catches the eye of new readers and brings them in and has them engage with us and ask us questions about it, which is such a good thing. So I'm excited. I want Solid Blood issue 18 and maybe 1 through 16.
1 through 16.
Just, I need to pick up some back issues.
Okay, so our 8th pick, of course,
is the Alex Ross Timeless Variance, which seems funny. It's like it's one thing. It's one series, but I don't think I've ever seen a variant cover. What do you call these? A series or whatever be as big and as exciting as people were for these, or catch as many eyes when they walk by the shelf and go, "What are these?" Really super interesting idea that they had with these.
So when they announced this, when I first read, Alex Ross is doing a series of, I think it was 32
we were like,
variant covers
what?
where it focuses on different Marvel characters. I was astounded. I knew it'd be great. I was like, why have they not done this before? I don't know how many truckloads of money they had to bring the guy, but it was awesome. And we told everyone about it. And, it's hard for people to part with money early. So, we had a good bit of people sign up early. But we were like, let's quadruple our orders, because there's going to be people for months learning about this going, hey, I know this started 3 months ago, but do you have them all?
Yeah.
And we made sure we did. I mean, we had just one whole part of our wall devoted to it. and it was great. And people came in, and some people would come in, they didn't know about it, and they'd see it and just be delighted.
Yeah. People bought
Find their
them as
favorite
gifts
characters.
for
Yeah,
people. They're like, my husband or my friend or my wife, they love this one character. And it was like an art piece. And great to display them. I know plenty of people who got frames and they're going to put them all up. I love this idea with the no trade dress on them. They are just pieces of art.
it was great. And at our store, we bag and board everything,
Mhm.
and so it got a little tiring bagging and boarding so many of those. But I remember saying when they quit coming in, we're gonna miss them.
Yeah.
And I do. Like week after, it's like, oh, no timeless variants this week. Where are they?
We still have one more, I think. We still have a Hawkeye one coming out.
Do we?
Yeah, I forgot what book it's for, but there's a Hawkeye one, and someone mentioned that there might be a Punisher one
Huh.
on the way, but I thought that, I mean, because these have been over now for a few months, and
In the past, I used to put together big variant sets, but that one, I was like, there's so many. I'm just too busy this time. But now I kind of regret it. I might see how many we have left.
I hope they do like a wave two. There's now that I've seen all these, I'm like, oh, there's so many characters I want to see get
That's
this
true.
treatment.
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
and Alex Ross Venom would be super cool on a cover.
There's a lot of change up in DC right now. DC, you might want to look up Alex Ross. No one's going to be mad that you steal the idea.
Oh no,
We
yeah.
all want it. So, okay, so our ninth pick.
Spawn.
Yep.
What else do you say? I was trying to think. Is it the return of Spawn? No, he's always been there
Yep.
since I was a child.
You can check with the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, the longest running independent series. Is that what it is? Of American comics,
Yes.
I believe.
Independently owned comic series.
So it was so funny. Like it was Spawn 300, which was towards the end of 2019.
Correct.
And it's cool, but I mean, who expects someone to jump on a book at issue 300? Like, that's not even a thing you can say very often. But Todd McFarlane, without making it a new #1, made it a new jumping on point that was accessible, was exciting, and did these like new cover initiatives that got crazy awesome covers.
The covers, yeah.
I mean, we have more people reading Spawn now than there probably has been in 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's incredible for a book that's been going this long. But also you can see on there the Chadwick Boseman cover, which was such a great homage or kind of in memoriam type thing.
It spoke to everyone. I mean, when that cover, I think it was first on his Twitter, I mean, it just went viral.
Yeah.
And we have people who don't read comics coming in the store wanting it. And that's great. Anything to get people to give comics a try.
Yeah.
Keep our hobby strong and fresh.
But on top of that, we got all these cool variant covers. We got other printings. So this is, I feel like, a big resurgence of Spawn, and it's going to continue.
And with him doing these covers with the different Spawns on there, the thing I have to wonder is, because, I like most people, I read Spawn in the 90s, and then, I skipped 200 issues, at least. I don't know when he's going to run out. Like, I don't know how many of these Spawns were in those 200 issues.
Yeah.
And I know he's come up with some that are new, but I know most of these were in previous things. So I don't know how much longer that can go.
Yeah. I say he'll keep it going. He'll make up new Spawns if he has to going forward. But I'm excited.
He works with some great people, too. He's got Bettina over there, Greg Capullo.
Yeah. Barbary doing the interiors right now is great. And we know he's still working at the movie. He still wants to get that movie made. And says he's directing it. I mean,
I believe it. With the money that guy has, I think he could.
He's done
produce it himself.
Yeah, he's done so many great things. Kind of, he did the Kickstarter for the Spawn figure that like broke all records for a figure pre-order. This is a man who is like the spirit of comics now. Like he was there in the kind of how comics were done, and now he's here now. He understands comics. He understands readers. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, him and Kirkman keep Image Comics in place as, right there towards the top of all the companies
Yeah.
with their innovations. Because another thing that McFarlane's been doing this year, and it really is a new thing for this year, he's been sending us retailers some free incentive ones.
Yep.
And we never know when he's going to do. We might know like a week or two ahead, but so for the Chadwick Boseman one, he sent us some free black and white variants. Didn't charge us or anything to help us raise money.
Yep.
Because times are tough, and comic stores have never been known to make you super rich.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not in this for the money. You're in this for the love of the product.
And so it's appreciated. There's obviously big conversations going on in Image on how can they keep things exciting, how can they help brick and mortar stores, and that's great. All right, so the last one we're going to speak about, Dark Knight's Death Metal.
Yeah, and it's apt considering it's right here at the end.
At the end.
Yeah. So this is, I can't remember when this was originally supposed to come out. It was supposed to be, summer of 2020, so. Something like that.
Push it back.
But this is, it's been long awaited since it was teased, and it has been, I think, really fun and kind of, it's post-apocalyptic, but also with such a good sense of humor, a sense of fun. It's crazy characters.
It's been big. It's like they said, hey, you like metal? That did well? Okay, well now let's go even bigger. Let's bring in more people you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. And I don't know if this was, I guess it was always meant to usher in the next phase of DC. We were originally supposed to have 5G. Which is now kind of morphed into Future State. But this also doesn't feel like one of those events that's just there to keep, transition. It's not the revolving door that you go through to get to the next place. I think this is a really good story. I've a
lot of great one-shots with it, too.
Great one-shots. But also, characters like the Robin King.
Yes.
We've gotten a lot of first appearances in this. Who knows, down the line, this year, next year, whatever, they're going to be taking some of the characters that were introduced here that we just saw in one-shots or whatever, and they're going to have some crazy big thing.
Exploring them further.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool Batman versions.
Because Scott Snyder, he's not done over at DC. He's still one of the main dudes. So anything he does, if he likes it enough, he's going to run with it. And they're gonna give him a thumbs up.
Yeah, I think that pretty much all of the one-shots that I've read, I've really enjoyed. It feels very cohesive. They all kind of help to support the main book. But it's also just kind of a fun cap on the year, beginning of the new year. Already I've read a bit of issue 7 and Future State. I like the tone that they're going for. This story is pretty dark, just with the blackest, or with the darkest night. But it's very hopeful going forward. It's very bright. It's very what you think of the DC universe. And I think it's going to be a great tone for 2021 and going forward.
Now, I know there weren't as many events in 2020 as there were going to be, event books.
Yeah.
But I have to say, out of all the event books that there were, I think Death Metal was easily the most successful and my favorite. For instance, I liked Marvel's Empire. I read that. It's a good read, but it's no Death Metal.
Yeah.
So hats off. That's why we think Death Metal is influential. That's why it made our top 10 list. I'd also like to point out that metal, we still have people coming in the store all the time asking about metal, and not even in reference to Death Metal. Even before Death Metal, that just didn't go away.
Yeah.
People like that idea, and that's another one that brought people back to comics. I love that. Event books should do that. It should either, if honestly, it should do both if it can. It should bring together a lot of readers to all enjoy one thing where you get to see all your favorite characters. You don't have time or money to get all their series, but now they're together.
Mhm.
Or it should give you a reason to get excited and get back in the comics if you fell off
Mhm.
for some reason. And I think this one did both those pretty clearly.
Yeah, yeah. It was a well earned event.
Okay, so I think the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to in 2021.
Yeah.
So, what are some books you're looking forward to?
So we know about a decent amount of things that are coming. We know about the new Wonder Woman Yara Flor getting her own series from Joelle Jones. And it's funny talking about this because, I mean, most of the people watching this have not read
Any future state, but
any
we've
future
gotten to
state.
read the
Yeah.
first 1 to 2 of each one, pretty
Yeah,
much.
but I think she is a super cool character. I'm really excited to see what Joelle Jones does with an ongoing series for that character. And just all the plans DC has for their Infinite Frontier line, I think is going to be really interesting. It's going to shake some stuff up, but there is a lot of really cool ideas that are set up in kind of the end of Death Metal and in Future State.
Yeah, DC has a lot of new characters that they're poised to launch, and it looks like they're going to back, and I think that's good. Marvel did that years back, and at first it was a little shaky. People were like, "Oh, do we like new Spider-Man and new Ms. Marvels?" But because Marvel didn't back off and kept adding to the characters, eventually they gained their footing, and they were different enough that now they're huge, and it just made the universe bigger. I think Future State could possibly do that.
Yeah, if they continue supporting the characters, building their mythology, putting solid writers on them, because I mean, there was a time where there wasn't a Miles Morales or a Spider Gwen, now Ghost Spider, or Miss Marvel, but now they are some of the key characters in the Marvel universe. DC is really set up where they can do that.
When you have heroes that have been around, many of them since the 60s, no matter what age you say they are and they stay timeless, they eventually seem like they're probably adults, maybe even older adults.
Yeah.
Maybe it's nice to get some younger characters in who you can feel are younger, who don't have, decades and decades of stories behind them.
Yeah.
But I am glad that they're not just tossing characters away. We don't want Bruce Wayne gone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're killing off Bruce Wayne and there's just going to be someone else. No, instead, Bruce Wayne's undercover. He's in the Dark Detective book, which I've read the first issue of that. It's excellent. So let me talk about a few I'm looking forward to. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in Crossover, Donnie Cates' book. A lot has been promised with this. And I don't know where he finds the time to write as much as he does, but he has so far kept most of his promises. This issue 3 is right around the corner, and from what I've been seeing, we see Spawn on the cover. It's like, how far is this crossover idea going to go? Is it just cover thing, or are Image characters going to be in this book? We've already seen characters from other comic companies, parts of these characters, their hands, their gloves, their, I don't know, like, he's dancing around some interesting themes and possibly some things that could get him in trouble legally. So I'm in for the ride, no matter
it's been
how it
one
goes.
of the most ambitious ideas. We'll see how that.
But we still don't know where it's going to go.
Exactly. So, like, in all of our heads, we've got all these ideas about, like, what's he doing? What does he? After the final page of issue 1 and all this stuff, you're like, hold up, this has never been done before.
Yeah. Department of Truth. I'm really looking forward to more of that. I like anthology books. I like books where it's like, I'm sorry, not anthology. I like books that are sort of like each issue is its own thing. But with that, behind it, you're getting more and more of the Department of Truth and who's against them. So I think that's really cool. He gets to tell these one-shot stories while still having the main plot progressing as well. I'm obviously looking forward to where King in Black is going. I since number 2 came out, I'm not going to spoil the end of it, but there is something that happens at the end of number 2 that I've been reading interviews. He says that he knew this was going to happen, but right when he started writing Venom, everything was going to lead to this. That's exciting. I have to say, what it is, I can't understand how it's going to stick.
It's crazy because it seems like everything that books like Venom, Silver Surfer Black, Guardians of the Galaxy, uh, a little bit of Thor, like all these things have been building to this one event. Like Venom hasn't had much of a story outside of this idea of King in Black and his son and all
Right.
this stuff. So what does that mean for Venom going forward? This is such a big event. You don't just go back to like fighting street thugs. This is
Well, they're definitely showing the history of the symbiotes. It's like time to finally show that and show that they have a vast history
yep.
and some insane power. If one of them is powerful enough to make Venom, who is a major supervillain slash antihero, then what happens when there's a whole planet of them, and who's the person running the show? And so I'm really interested to see where King in Black goes.
There's other Marvel books too that are kind of poised to have big shakeups, like Avengers, with all the stuff with the Phoenix they've been doing.
Right. Is the Phoenix Force going to... Right now in Avengers, the Phoenix Force is going into different characters to see who utilizes it best, and supposedly a new character is going to become the new Phoenix. So if that does happen, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I'm sure that will lead to...
a Captain America with the Phoenix power.
Yeah.
Or,
and it's crazy, we've got this whole thing not even mentioned X-Men. I mean, X-Men, with Hickman's X-Men has been such a...
That's been a stellar hit.
I don't even know what you call it. It is a complete world building.
Different than any X-Men in ages.
Yeah, so we definitely, I feel like...
that would have made our 2019 show.
Yeah.
For sure. We're far enough in that it's still good. I mean, he pretty much filled up this year, or at least the second half of this year, with Sword of X.
And so everyone kind of talks about that he's maybe doing like a 3-act story. So we're kind of poised to see what the next act is going to be, or what the next instigator for the X-Men are going to be, because they're still... Krakoa is doing pretty well, and if you know the X-Men, nothing goes well for too long before something is really gonna break. And we have a lot of characters that are kind of acting like they're together, but really they've got their own agendas.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
When you pull all the mutants together, heroes and villains, and go, hey, let's just get along. That's too many things in the pot before it boils.
Yeah. Selfishly, I just want to find out where Aquaman goes this year.
Okay.
Because we know he's on Justice League, but we don't know where... He doesn't have his own title anymore. There's a lot of characters that I'm interested to see where they go. Also, this is the year that we get the Invincible show from Amazon. I want to see Invincible make some kind of comeback in comics. I would love to see Invincible in crossover, but... who knows?
You very well might.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of really exciting things coming up this year that I, almost more than any year, I feel like have been planned really well. That it doesn't seem like we are going completely into the dark. It seems like there's something there that all of these series are building towards and getting ready to launch.
And speaking of the dark, we talked about this the other show, but Marvel Dark Ages was supposed to be a big event series where all technology stops working, and how's that affect the Marvel Universe. Maybe that's going to happen.
Yeah.
My bet is yes. They pushed for it in the free comic book day stuff. That means they already paid a lot of the writers and artists to do some of it. So we might see that next year, and that sounds like an interesting storyline.
Yeah. So I think this year is going to have a lot of really, really cool stuff.
We're getting off to a huge start with Future State. I mean, we're clearing our shelves to make room because they're launching so many number ones.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. That's quite a beginning.
If you could pick one Future State to tell people you've got to definitely pick up this one, which one do you think it is?
Oh man, because it's between two. It's either next Batman or Future State Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're both great issues, but they also, next Batman is first full appearance
Mm-hmm.
of the new Batman, who it will be revealed who he is, not in issue 1 now. And then Future State Wonder Woman is first Yara Flor, who we already know is going to be on a TV show,
Yep.
getting her own comic. So they seem like no brainers, and I've read them both, and they're good. They're
Yeah.
quite good.
Yeah.
But I can't choose between those two.
I'll say Dark Detective I really liked.
It was awesome.
I think that it has a really cool tone. We've got the new villain kind of making their appearance there. That's gonna
Peacekeeper 01.
Yeah, who's gonna play a big part in Batman. And not just because I like Aquaman, but it'll be a few weeks before we get Aquaman Future State #1. But it was a really good issue setting up Aquaman's daughter as becoming maybe the new Aquawoman. So I think sleeper hit. I think that one is gonna be really cool to see what people think about it.
All right, well, I think that is it for this week. Typically, we do our shows every Friday at about 5:30, but typically we're going over the new comics before they get to the final order cutoff. This week, because of the holidays, there really wasn't much of anything, so we thought, hey, let's do a special on Saturday instead and talk about the whole last year.
Yeah.
So we hope you've enjoyed it. If so, thank you. If you're watching us on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. And thank you very much, and we will see you next week.